Good morning, students. Today we are going to learn a lesson of 8th standard, that is 2.4, Three Visions for India. Visions means one may say that dreams or ideas. Our former president of India, that is the 11th president of our country, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, had three visions for our country so that our country would be developed. He had set a goal, a vision of 2020. Now we will see the actual lesson. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, who was the father of India's integrated guided missile program, states three visions for India based on the achievements and progress that he has witnessed in the history of the nation and during his own career as a missile scientist. There is no doubt that everybody knows that Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam was a great scientist of our country. Because of his hard work, he reached till the highest post of the nation, of the country, and he is called the father of India's integrated guided missile program. He states, it means he says, three visions. Vision means a dream or an idea. For our country, all these three visions are based on the achievements and progress that he has witnessed in the history of the nation and during his own career. So when he was making his own career, he had witnessed our country's achievements and he had set three visions on the basis of the same achievements. As a missile scientist, he worked for our country. Dr. Kalam's three visions for India are freedom, development, and standing up. So now we will see all these three visions in detail. The focus of his presentation is on developing India to its fullest potential. Potential means capacity, and standing up to means being brave and facing challenges. So Dr. Kalam had set three visions for our country, and these three visions are freedom, development, and standing up. So standing up means being brave, to be courageous and face the challenges fearlessly. The focus of his presentation is on developing India to its fullest potential. Potential means capacity, ability, one may say the eligibility. So he had set the vision which is based on the capacity, capability, ability of our country while standing up to the rest of the world with fully validated self-respect. Validated means confirmed, that is with proof. So while standing up to the rest of the world means while facing the problems, the difficulties, the challenges to the rest of the world with fully validated, with confirmation, with proof, self-respect for the achievements that have been obtained in the modern times. So according to him, nowadays the self-respect has been obtained in the modern times to our country. So according to him, self-respect is also important. If we are not free, no one will respect us. So he used to say, if we are not free, if we don't have the rights, in that case, no one will respect us. I have three visions for India, he says. In 3000 years of our history, people from all over the world have come and invaded us. Invaded means attacked us. So, according to him, if we study the history of our country of 3000 years, we'll come to know that so many foreigners have attacked our country. So many people from other countries invaded us and they tried to capture our land and conquered our minds like the Britishers who came to our country as a businessman, but later on they have set up their own colonies and then they conquered our minds. From Alexander onwards, the Greeks, the Portuguese, the British, the French, all these people came. Even the Dutch also. All of them came and looted us and took over what was ours. And when the foreigners came here, they took the authority of, they took over what was ours. It means they robbed us. They have looted our country. Yet we have not done this to any other nation. Though this happened with us, but we did not do the same with any other country, though the country is weaker, smaller. We have not conquered anyone. We have not grabbed their land, their culture, and their history, nor tried to force our way of life on them. We did not force anybody or any other country to follow us. Why? Because we respect the freedom of others. So here he says that why didn't we try to capture any other land or any other foreign country? The reason is we respect the freedom of other countries. That is why. Therefore, so my first vision for India is freedom. So he had mentioned the reason that the first vision for our country is freedom, that our country must be free. I believe that India, so here he said, I believe that India had its first vision of freedom in 1857 when we started the War of Independence. So he had the trust that we would have got the freedom in the year 1857 when we started the War of Independence. It is this freedom that we must protect and nurture. Nurture means develop and build on. If we are not free, no one will respect us. So he said that we would have done that. But do you know, we have studied in history. Why couldn't we have freedom in the year 1857? The reason is, in those days, we didn't have any representative at the national level. It means we didn't have unity. So Dr. Kalam has mentioned the second vision for India, and that is development. For 50 years, we have been a developing nation. So he focused on the process of developing. Since freedom, we have been a developing nation. It means at that time we have started to develop our country, and still we are doing the same. It is time to see ourselves as a developed nation. We are among the top 5 nations of the world in terms of gross domestic product, that is GDP. So here he had given the proof and said that our country, India, is among the top 5 nations of the world in terms of GDP. GDP means gross domestic product. we have 10% growth rate in most of the areas. Our property levels are falling. So here he had said that our poverty is a noun form of poor. So day by day our poverty levels are falling and our achievements are being globally recognized. Recognized means noticed, and globally means at the international level. It means all over the world. So he said that day by day we are making progress. Financially we are being stronger, but gradually, slowly. So our poverty levels are falling and our achievements are being globally recognized today. It means all other nations are also accepting that we are making progress. Yet, we lack the self-confidence to see ourselves as a developed nation. So here, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam has clearly mentioned, though we are making progress, but we don't have that much confidence. We are not ready to accept mentally that we are making progress. So here he says that self-reliant and self-assured. Isn't this right? Self-reliant, it means to be independent, and self-assured, it means we are sure about our capacities. Isn't this right? India must stood up to the world. It means India must stand up and show the capacity, the power that we are ready to face our difficulties or our challenges. I've a third vision. So here he had mentioned that I've a third vision, and that is India must stand up to the world or no one will respect us. Only strength respects strength. So he is saying that only strength respects strength. We must be strong not only as a military power but also as an economic power. Both must go hand to hand. It means he says that we must be powerful not only in the case of military power but also financially. Why are we in India so embarrassed, so confused to recognize our own strength, to recognize our own achievements? We are such a great nation with so many amazing success stories. If we study history, we'll come to know that we have so many amazing, surprising success stories. But we refuse to acknowledge them. But we refuse. Refuse means deny, defy, reject. To acknowledge them. Acknowledge means to accept them. Why? We are the second largest producer of wheat in the world. We are the second largest producer of rice. So here he is showing us our capacity. We are the first in milk production. We are number one in remote sensing satellites. So remote sensing satellites means man-made satellites launched into space for communication, weather forecast, etc. So we have made scientific progress also. Look at Dr. Sudarshan. He has transferred the tribal village into a self-sustaining. Self-sustaining means providing for one's needs. So he is giving one example of a village, and the leader and the great personality that is Dr. Sudarshan, who has transformed, who has changed the tribal village into a self-sustaining, into such a village which fulfills the needs of all the people. Self-driving unit. So self-driving unit. It means controlling oneself. There are millions of such achievements, but our media is obsessed only with bad news and failures and disasters. So he said that though we have made a great progress, but our media is not showing our positive news. They are showing only the weak points. They are obsessed, they are fully occupied only with bad news and failures and disasters. That is the problems. Do we not realize that self-respect comes with self-reliance? So here he says that don't we realize that self-respect comes with self-reliance. So if we are fully independent, we must be having respect. I was in Tel Aviv once, and I was reading the Israeli newspaper. Here Dr. Kalam has mentioned his own experience when he was reading Israeli newspaper. It was the day after a lot of attacks and bombardments and deaths had taken place. So he was reading the newspaper. On that day, just before that day, there were so many bombardments. Deaths had taken place. The foreigners attacked that Israeli nation. The Hamas and struck. The Hamas had struck. But the front page of the newspaper had the picture of a Jewish gentleman who in 5 years had transformed his desert land into an orchard, farm and granary. Though the nation was facing a great difficulty, but on the front page of the newspaper there was a positive news which encourages, which motivates, which inspires the people and the readers. What was that news? That news was the front page of the newspaper had the picture of a Jewish gentleman who in 5 years had transformed, changed his desert land, his barren land into an orchard farm, into a garden of fruits and granary. It was this inspiring picture that everyone woke up to. So this picture was inspiring, so that everyone will wake up. The Guri means involving bloodshed and violence, details of killings, bombardments and deaths were inside the newspaper, buried among other news. Isn't it possible in our country? So he says that isn't it possible in our country to mention encouraging news on front pages? In the last paragraph he says, I want to live in a developed nation. Another question, why are we as a nation so obsessed with foreign things? We want foreign TVs, we want foreign shirts, we want foreign technology. Why this obsession with everything important? Do we not realize that self-respect comes with self-reliance? So here we are much more obsessed to have the foreign things. So he said one of the example and his own experience. He says here, I was in Hyderabad giving this lecture when a 14-year-old girl asked me for my autograph. I asked her what her goal in life is. She replied, I want to live in a developed India. The 14-year-old girl. You may guess that the girl must be studying in standard 8 or 9. And her goal was to live in a developed India. For her, you and I will have to build this developed India. You must proclaim. Proclaim means declare confidently. Thank you.